All right, the next question comes from Metaltown, and they ask, will Xavien Howard be a Dolphin week one? If not, what team or teams could we look to see him on? Now, will we see Xavien Howard on the Dolphins week one? Now, I think the Dolphins are exercising what traits they could do with Xavien Howard, and Xavien Howard has made it clear that he is not playing a single snap on his current contract for the Dolphins or maybe for any other team. So you have to look at teams with salary cap space, but also teams that have the draft capital, but also have the players to trade for Xavien Howard. Now, this is a team that probably doesn't have the draft capital, maybe doesn't have the players, but they could use some of that draft capital that they might need to give up a player that they really need in that depleted secondary that looks like it needs more talent this year, and that's the Seahawks. I think they need some help in that secondary. I think they would be willing to give up some draft picks because I think they're in a win now mode, knowing that Pete Carroll doesn't have too much time left and they want to keep Russell Wilson in Seattle. So you go get some help on that defensive side of the ball by getting Xavien Howard, maybe giving up a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and maybe a player. The Arizona Cardinals are a team I would look at for a team that's suitable to trade for Xavien Howard. They're a team that I think needs some help in that secondary, and they lost Patrick Peterson, but if they went out and got Xavien Howard, that would be an upgrade over Patrick Peterson. We know they have Byron Murphy, and we know they have Malcolm Butler in that secondary as their corners, but if you add Xavien Howard to that, then you would have depth, but you'd have that true number one corner, and they have that draft capital to really trade for Xavien Howard, and I think they'd be a suitable team to go out and go get Howard in a trade. Another team, and a team I think may be a better fit than the Seahawks as far as trade suitor goes, I think that would be the Washington football team. Now, this is a defense that's probably going to be a top 5 defense this year, but when you look at their secondary, this is a secondary that still needs some secondary depth and some secondary health. If you put Xavien Howard next to William Jackson, then you have a pretty good 1-2 punch at corner, and I think they have the draft capital they need to get a Xavien Howard trade done. This is a team that looks to be all in on them going in on defense and how good their defense is going to be. And if they add Xavien Howard to this defense, I think it'll be even better. So, will Xavien Howard be on the Dolphins week one? To me, probably not. Now, will he play for the Dolphins week one? Absolutely not. Will he be on the Dolphins week one? I think he'll get traded before the season starts just because some teams are going to need help at corner because they're going to have injuries at corner because that's just the way training camp works. And I think the Cardinals, Seahawks, and Washington football team would be valuable suitors for Xavien Howard. And if you want to get your questions answered on the show, please make sure you go to my community tab section every Monday and post under the prompt your NBA or NFL question under the specific date that the prompt tells you to. Just make sure you put it under the right date so I'll be able to make sure I can get your question in the right time, because if you don't put it under the right prompts, I probably will not see it.